it's been since January 3rd since I've done this little thing, which has probably been there a lot longer. But the good Lord, I went because I had so many clots. And they tell me it could be 6 months or 3 months or another month or maybe 2 weeks. Just depending on my resilience. And I try to get up and walk anyway in the night when I get where I can't feel my feet. That kind of stuff. So you know what I'm talking about there. But do you think that we were, I don't know how to, vascular? Is it all feet related with that? Or, I don't put us out in a little cubicle of us having just quit calling and go, but it seems like we both have a lot of that kind of thing.
For even the most vulnerable youth in a school. Dr. Ethier, a quick final comment. I make the observation that it's hard not to look at the last decade and say, well, what's changed in society?
Well, so you're doing better with yours?
Everybody walking around with a smartphone in their pocket, that has to be an important cause driving these numbers. Can you tell it to me in 30 seconds? Sure. I think there's a combination of factors. Certainly the isolation from the pandemic has not helped.
Well, I just miss you. And I wanted that one of these days, Chris doesn't care, but maybe we can meet up at Underground or something before, another year gets. Even though this one seems like I didn't know it was going to even snow last night. It seemed to be so cold as it's been all week. Kind of surprised me. But I don't think winter's over yet. And
access this report and read it.
Oh, yes.
Thank you, Dr. Ethier. I really appreciate your time and expertise.
But anyway, I'm thinking to change Chris's bed and do my laundry, and I just want to reach out to you to let you know how I feel, because he's just pretty much all about all I have. So even though we don't speak or don't see, you're always right there. Did you get mine? I'm trying to do a new thing on TikTok. Did you get my big sister one? That was music. Because see, I don't know how to do those yet on TikTok to transfer them yet. So that's how I thought I love my cards still to send, but these are fun, but I'm not sure I'm sharing them to you in the right manner yet with Messenger. But anyway, I'm glad you did. So,
360,000 of Elon Musk's Teslas, including mine.
Oh, you don't have to respond back. I just, when you're on my mind that way, that's the way I can say it. And I had to talk to you when he was gone, because I couldn't really, the last few weeks, I couldn't say it. I just couldn't talk. And I'm sure he felt the same. So, but anyway, we're good. Puppy dogs run my life.
And baby.
And so, well, I got her, I paid for her last year almost, but 2 friends of mine I went to school with, another friend, same lady, I got her from Cerebral. Anyway, she runs the show, so Wallace thinks he owns the bed, owns the thing, owns everything. But I got the 3, and he sits in the middle of all 3 of them, so they're pretty much something else. And see, Trinket is, okay, I got Tessie, she's about 16, and I got Trinket that's 7, and then the baby's 4 months, 3 months. So he gets in the bed that I got for Trinket 3 years ago, and he sits there and won't let him in it. So I have to tip it out of the bed, out, and then he goes and gets in the corner, and he pouts, and he carries on, and he hollers, and he moans, and he does all this stuff. Then he gets over it, and then they're all 3 in the bed, and everybody goes to bed. But I said, they are doing, and Chris is strong, and he's shown me I'm okay, I'm okay, and let's let it go, and we'll move on. And just pray for him. And I don't want to see him, not with us. But I don't know any of those people, and I truly wouldn't want to know them. But I knew that's where we wanted to be. So, yeah, anyway, yeah, I guess that made him more callous to the world. It doesn't seem to bother him. But anyway, I hope today's warm and all those things, but as far as me, I just couldn't do anymore. So, okay, I'll talk to you soon. And I love you, man. Bye bye. I don't have so many words yet.
With the Verizon Wi-Fi unit, associated insurance contain precisely orchestrated nearly 600,000 vehicles passing through your UK port every year. Don't just connect your business. Make it even smarter. We call
I was
it
disappointed that it's even worse than her. I mean, all the time.
honestly, it was a waste of time and a waste of money.
She cares, she loves, but
Getting results, use
she is just
money with Nutrisystem's partner plan.
We lost 60 pounds from the Nutrisystem partner plan.
Now sit down to dinner together with
I
new
really want
for
some of
two.
that.
Double
I'm
portion
gonna sit down there.
Hey.
I know, seriously.
Well,
Get today's special dinner for two. Call or go online right now.
Not by the call, I need a chest congestion. I would 12 hours of relief. 12 hours? No coffee? Hashtag still not coffee?
Use an XDA to give you 12 hours of relief from chest congestion in any type of cough, day or night. Use an XDA. It's comeback season.
Get help reaching your goals with JP Morgan Wealth Plan, a new tool in the Chase mobile app. Use it to set and track your goals, big and small, and see how changes you make today could help put them within reach. From your first big move to retiring poolside,
Check the
and
dryer.
goals along the way. Wealth Plan can help you get there. JP Morgan Wealth Management.
Closed captioning brought to you by mesobook.com.
We offer a free book on mesothelioma. Call for the free book and receive so much more. Call 1-800-831-3700.
This week's sworn testimony, internal emails, and text messages excerpted in a new court filing lay bare the hypocrisy of Fox News talent and its executives. As seen in the $1.6 billion defamation against Fox by Dominion Voting Systems, they knew the 2020 election conspiracy theories airing on their network were bogus. But despite notification and warning from Dominion, a manufacturer of voting machines, being blamed in some of those conspiracies, they kept giving the stories oxygen. Really crazy stuff. Right at the top, Rupert Murdoch. Sean Hannity said Rudy Giuliani was, quote, acting like an insane person, to which Laura Ingraham concurred, such an idiot. Tucker Carlson referred to Donald Trump as a demonic force. Brett Baer correctly noted there is no evidence of fraud. Lou Dobbs and Maria Bartiromo were perhaps the worst offenders. Each gave air to Trump lawyer Sidney Powell, who even Tucker Carlson deemed a liar. The motion for summary judgment filed by Dominion is chock full of evidence of everything I have said here and on radio for years, namely that certain media are operating as the equivalent of pro wrestling. Only Fox hid from their viewers that they knew it was fake. When Neil Cavuto cut away from the White House briefing from Haley McEnany, when McEnany began making unsubstantiated allegations of fraud, Cavuto saying, I can't in good countenance continue to show you this. The Fox executives deemed him a brand threat. The Fox motive was not ideology. It was not an allegiance to Donald Trump. It was greed, pure and simple. They created an audience they could no longer control, an audience that believed the garbage they're putting on the air, and they feared that they might lose that base to a competitor like Newsmax. In an email to Fox News CEO Suzanne Scott, Murdoch wrote that Newsmax needed to be, quote, watched, adding that he didn't want to, quote, antagonize Trump further and stressing everything at stake here. And what might he have meant by everything? Well, despite the doomsdayers, The big three cable news networks earned an estimated $5.7 billion in advertising revenue and license fees in 2022, up 3% from the previous year. When Fox reporter Jackie Heinrich fact-checked a Trump tweet pointing out a lack of evidence of voter fraud, Tucker Carlson texted to Hannity, "Please get her fired." Seriously, what the F? I'm actually shocked. It needs to stop immediately. Like tonight, it's measurably hurting the company. The stock price is down, not a joke. By the way, last week, that same Tucker Carlson had the highest rated show on cable news with 3.5 million viewers. A Fox spokesperson has claimed that Dominion mischaracterized the record in its court filing and cherry-picked the quotes that were stripped of any key context. Regardless of the ultimate outcome of the defamation action, the evidence is a stunning indictment of the Fox brand. But here's a question. Will their audience ever know this? It's a real issue where so many live in media silos and don't listen or watch all sides. These revelations, they were huge news everywhere yesterday. Just look at all the headlines. Except on Fox, because they're not covering it. Remember to vote. This week's poll question at Swerconish.com right now, I'm asking the following. Will Fox News lose credibility with its viewers if those viewers learn that the network's hosts and executives knew the 2020 conspiracy theories were BS? Joining me now to discuss is Brian Rosenwald. He's a scholar in residence at the University of Pennsylvania. He's the author of Talk Radio's America, How an Industry Took Over a Political Party that Took Over the United States. Brian, welcome back. Thanks for being here. Is Fox News an outlier, or is this the norm in a polarized media world?
Michael, it's not an outlier at all. This is the norm for conservative media. As you and I have been telling people for years, this is a business. They care about the bottom line, and the one thing that they are worried about is losing their audience, alienating their viewers. And so here was a case where they really were concerned that if they told the truth, their audience was going to go find someone who told them what they wanted to hear.
Brian, this is not the 1990s. You know, they don't have the strangle. Russia's no longer here. I think this was just the 2-year anniversary of his passing. Fox doesn't have the stranglehold on conservatives that they did at one time. There's a lot of competition in the marketplace.
This is the key point, Michael. You know, in the 1990s, somebody who watched or listened to Rush or watched Fox in its early years probably was also watching the nightly news or CNN and consuming media like yourself. So they were not living in this hermetically sealed world of conservative media. Flash forward to now, and they have dozens of options.
Oh.
And so what happens is every host is worried about getting outflanked. Every host is worried about hearing that, you know, what happened to you? You sold out. You know, I can't trust you anymore. Why? Because even if they don't throw out the craziest,
It's still drying when they were stripping.
is getting this stuff from somewhere.
Uh,
Posted on Facebook. You know, we also have social media today.
I,
From Breitbart or Newsmax.
I,
Show that you can think of. So
That's sad, right, Jim?
is that they're
I mean, she had like about 5 words to say, but it's not to me. I guess she's that sad. What? Don't talk to her anymore. That's what sad? Susie, what? Be quiet. I had to talk to her and tell her how I felt. Because George told her about to step forward left and he tried. And I don't believe all of it.
The few hosts who didn't, like Charlie Sykes in Milwaukee, they stopped being on conservative media because their audience evaporated.
I know that there's some watching, and I'll hear from them in the Twitterverse, I'm sure, who say, oh, why are you talking about your own network? Why are you talking about MSNBC? And I will be the first to acknowledge that polarization exists at both ends of the ideological spectrum. In this particular case, democracy was at stake. I mean, they were giving oxygen. They were giving oxygen to conspiracy theories that led to an attempted coup. And they knew it was bullshit. That's the difference.
I think you're 100% right. This is something that is toxic for democracy. That you have this medium that has a huge political impact. That, you know, these guys are willing to do or say anything to make money. That's as these guys go further and further to the right, they see Democrats as evil. They play out the soap opera. They know it's a business. They know that, as you said, it's for wrestling. But the politicians
We got 25 extra
and that
plus
affects
30.
whether they're trying to address
So,
problems.
still gotta get dog food.
Crisis that you're talking
And then
about.
there was not any after the law. Yes, what do you need it for? We gotta give them dog food. What are they gonna eat? I can't do that. You don't have to do nothing. You're gonna get your check. All I need is my phone bill and the puppy shot. Then I'm gonna reach out to Joe there and feed back in a couple of weeks. She said, oh, it's gonna take them more than one trip or something. I don't know why. And I was tired of talking.
Give me the quick answer.
Absolutely not. They'll just say it's media bias and say
I'm
you
trying
are
to explain my
distorting
feelings.
things, we're twisting things.
I've done that with her all my life.
Yeah, but I've got the document here. I mean, even if Dominion loses the defamation action, it is an actual malice case, so there's a high standard. But, the sworn deposition testimony is what it is. The texts are what they are. The emails are. There's no
Hey. Hey.
I'll talk to the former Navy pilot who warned the Highway Safety Administration after she analyzed hundreds of crashes involving that kind of autonomous system. And the prosecution arrested the trial of Alex Murdoch, the disbarred South Carolina lawyer accused of killing his wife and 22-year-old son. And it's possible that its 61st and final witness may have been the most damning. I'll talk to a reporter who's been on the case end in that courtroom.
Meet Brett from apartment 2B. He's not letting an overdraft alert give him stress. He knows he's covered with 0 overdraft fees when he overdrafts his account by 50 bucks or less. Overdraft Assist from Chase. Ignore it, what's yours?
Stay 2 nights and get 8,000 bonus points. Book now at bestwestern.com.
Lamita Feed is 101 years old. When COVID hit, we had some challenges. I heard about the payroll tax refund that allowed us to keep the people that have been here taking care of us.
Learn more at getrefunds.com.
I am here because they revolutionized
immunotherapy.
I am here because I saw how cancer adapts to different oxygen levels and started.
I am here because they switched out the EGFR gene mutation and stopped the growth of tumor cells.
There's a place that's been making one advanced cancer discovery after another for 75 years.
I am here.
He is here. I am here because of Dana-Farber.
What we do here changes lives everywhere. I am here.
Dancing is everything. Soccer is the best.
But for moderate to severe eczema, could make it hard for her. Now, I'm staying ahead of it. Dupixent helps senior skin from within, so they can have clearer skin and less itch. Serious allergic reactions can occur that can be severe. Tell your doctor about new or worsening eye problems, such as eye pain or vision changes, including blurred vision, joint aches and pain, or a parasitic infection. Don't change or stop asthma medicines without talking to your doctor. Ask your doctor about Dupixent. Our camera knows when it's time to go into protect mode. Adding Lysol laundry sanitizer kills 99.9% of illness-causing bacteria detergents leave behind. Clear is good, sanitized is better. Love invited women who wanted their damaged hair trimmed. Yes, I need a trim. I just want to be able to cut the damage. We tried Dove instead. So, still need that trim? I'm too shocked. I need a haircut. Don't trim to the damage. Stop it with Dove.
Salt Lake City. Let's rock it. Still, there's so much energy in the air, it's gorgeous and stunning. It's so cool watching the people who are afraid to say what they did. It's so badass, man. No way a human can do that. NBA All-Star on TNT.
So my goal with customers have such long-term success is because we focus on real foods in the right balance to get the results you want. When I tell people how easy it was for me to lose weight on Golo, they don't. They don't believe I can eat real food and lose this much weight. The Release supplement makes losing weight easy. Release sets you up for successful weight loss because it supports your blood sugar levels between meals, so you aren't hungry or fatigued.
After I started taking Release, the weight just started falling off.
Since starting Golo and taking Release, I've gone from size 12 to 4.
Before Golo, I was hungry all the time and constantly thinking about food. After taking Release, that stopped.
With Release, I didn't feel that hunger that comes with dieting, which made the Golo plan really easy to stick to.
Since starting Golo and Release, I have dropped 7 hand sizes and have kept it off. Golo is real, our customers are real, and our success stories are real. Why not give it a try?
And this is DNA.
My car has just been recalled. It's one of more than 362,000 Teslas equipped with full-serve driving, the driver assistance. In response, CEO Elon Musk tweeted this. He said, the word recall, or an over-the-air software update, is anachronistic and just flat wrong. The technology in my car allows the vehicle to steer, to accelerate, to brake, and to change lanes on its own. Last fall, my next guest sent a document to colleagues at the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration, noting that when people use such technology and die or are injured in a car crash, they are more likely to have been speeding than people driving cars on their own. Joining now is Missy Cummings. She was one of the first female U.S. Navy fighter pilots, a professor now of robotics and autonomy at George Mason University, and most relevant for our purposes, she spent more than a year as senior safety advisor to NHTSA. Dr. Cummings, thanks so much for being here. How much government oversight was involved in allowing my car to initially even get on the roadway?
None. Really. I mean, other than, yeah, so we have a rule book. It's called the Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards, and if your car, when it's built, if it meets all the rules in that rule book, the auto manufacturers do not have to ask permission to put a car on the road. So no evaluation was ever done by anyone other than Tesla or any other manufacturer.
I mean, I think that's pretty stunning. I for one, did not know until reading in on all the Tesla and corresponding issues, but it's a system of self-certification that we have in this country. Is that the way that it is globally?
No, indeed. We use self-certification here, but we have, in the world, there are pre-approval processes, most notably in Europe. So in Europe, you can't get full self-driving in many countries because they have said, no, that's not pre-approved, it's not safe enough.
What do you think accounts for your finding in those crashes that you looked at, where there was a likelihood that people were using the self-driving and speeding more so than you would see in people who are operating their own vehicle in a traditional sense?
Yeah, first I'd like to point out this is under the standing general order data, and it's accessible to everyone on the public. You can go to NHTSA's website right now, download the data set, see for yourself. And I do think what accounts for it is people are getting injured and or killed more in ADAS vehicles because they are speeding. We see, the trend was very clear in the data. People are setting the speed limit to not the speed of the car to 9 miles over the speed limit. I do it myself, so I know that thinking. And but the difference between people in an ADAS equipped car and myself is I'm still paying attention, even though I've set the cruise control to 9 miles over the speed limit. People in ADAS equipped vehicles are relaxing. They're being told they can go hands-free, even if it's just for 30 seconds, and they'll do other things in the car, and they'll put their feet somewhere else in the car, and then all of a sudden something goes wrong, and you're speeding, you're going too fast for the conditions, people tend to over-control the steering wheel, and we see lots of crashes as a result.
It's not just a Tesla thing, right? I mean, Tesla takes all the oxygen out of the room because of the personality at the top, but we're talking about a much more widespread issue.
Absolutely, and this is what I find most concerning is we're advocating for people to go hands-free when car manufacturers are advertising for you. Yes, you should buy our car because you can go hands-free. The problem with that is, can you go hands-free for a couple of seconds to pick up your coffee? Yes, we all know it because we've been there. But when you encourage people to go hands-free, people will take extended periods of time, and hands-free equals mind-free. And people will start paying attention to something else and looking down at their phone, playing with the radio, playing with the telematics on the system, because they feel comfortable. So really kind of what we're seeing is ADAS equipped cars are causing people to be far more over-trusting of the technology than is probably safe.
Dr. Cummings, thanks so much for your expertise. I really appreciate it.
Thank you for having me.
Checking in on more social media reaction, what do we have from the world of YouTube? Autonomous driving is coming. It's just a matter of time. By the way, George Jetson was born in 2020. Hey, Antique X-Ray. I love my car. I want Tesla to succeed and to thrive. I'm surprised. The reason that I asked Dr. Cummings the first question that I did is because, and I should know better as a trial lawyer, I'm surprised that a vehicle gets on the roadway without government inspection and oversight. It's self-certification, and we leave it to the auto manufacturers. I think the world will be a safer place when we're all using this technology. But the issue of human factors is what we're talking about. And, that's still part of the dynamic. All right, still to come, the latest from the trial of lawyer Alex Murdaugh. I've been paying close attention to this. He's on trial for the murder of his wife and son. So the prosecution is now arrested after somewhat controversially being allowed to introduce information about Murdaugh's financial crimes. What's going to happen next? I will talk to Valerie Borline. She's been in the courtroom every day. And remember to answer this week's poll question. It's for Kaddish.com. Will Fox News lose credibility with its own viewers if they learn that the network's hosts and executives knew 2020 conspiracy theories were BS?
Even if you like a house, logo the first offer. This house says use the realtor.com to see 3 different listings. Also, don't take advice from people who don't know what they're talking about. Realtor.com teach their home.
Viruses are constantly changing. They're always evolving. And we have to be actively involved in understanding how they're changing, what's driving it, and what's the consequences of it.
You've heard about the outbreak that's happened in the community, the disease of COVID. Just 5 swaps in the windows? Are they there?
We need to keep monitoring new viral variants happening.
Your record label is taking off, but so is your sound engineer. You need to hire.
Indeed.
Indeed, you do. Indeed Instant Match instantly delivers quality candidates matching your job description. Visit Indeed.com/hire.
ADT systems now feature Google products like the Nest Cam with Floodlight, with intelligent alerts when a person or familiar face is detected. So you have a home with no worries. Brought to you by ADT. Stay tuned to learn more about this limited time offer from Renewal by Anderson.
We all have that list of home improvement projects we need to, and if replacing your home's windows and doors is on that list, you want to know that it's going to be affordable. I'm from Renewal by Anderson, and we've helped thousands of customers who are on a budget get our windows and doors for their homes. How do we do it? Well, here's something you don't expect to hear from me. You don't have to upgrade all your windows and doors at the same time. We're really good at identifying.
You know what they say, take a little mask that you wear in there for COVID, chop up little bitty lines, cut the end off, drop them in the mask, and rub it in your toilet, and it'll take out all the line scale with your glove. You don't drop them in it, you rub it, throw it away. Think about toilet.
Think about other things. Did it sometimes feel like you had to buy the expensive extended warranty to get the good coverage? That's never the case with this. Our windows are so durable, and our installers are so talented, unlike some other companies. Our warranties cover the windows, patio doors, and the installation.
It's really impressive that they sell the product, they manufacture the product, they install the product, because then you're dealing with one company, and you're dealing with one company that has a long-standing and solid reputation.
Let Renewal by Anderson help with great windows and doors in your budget this year.
Before February 28th, buy one window or door and get the next one 40% off. That's 40% off with a minimum of 4 units. Plus, save an extra $30 on every window and door you buy. With no money down, no monthly payments, and no interest for 1 year. Start this project now and don't pay anything for a year. Call Renewal by Anderson before February 28th. 1-800-501-1400. That's 1-800-501-1400.
I think I'm ready for this. Heck yeah. With E-Trade, you're ready for anything. Marriage, kids, college. Kids moving back in after college.
Finally, we can eat.
You know you make me wanna. He looked around and said, wait a minute, this isn't even our stroller. Live with your parents. We own a house in the middle. I don't get it. Here's to getting financially ready for anything. Being single and ready to mingle. Who's ready to cha-cha?
If you have diabetes, it's important to have confidence in the nutritional drink you choose. Try Boost Glucose Control. It's clinically shown to help manage blood sugar levels and contains high-quality protein to help manage hunger and support muscle health. Try Boost today.
After 4 weeks, the prosecution has rested in its case against disbarred South Carolina lawyer Alex Murdaugh for the June 2021 killings of his wife Maggie and 22-year-old son Paul. They presented 61 witnesses, more than 500 pieces of evidence, trying to explain the murders as Murdaugh's desperation move to generate sympathy because his extensive financial fraud was about to be exposed. Witnesses this week included Maggie's older sister, Marion Proctor, Murdaugh's law school roommate, Chris Wilson. The prosecution's final witness was, to me, the most damaging, Peter Radofsky. He coordinated SUV and phone data to track Murdaugh's movements on the night of the murder. And now it's the defense's turn before the case gets turned over to the jury. 2 of the jurors were disqualified on Monday after testing positive for COVID, narrowing the pool of alternates to just 3. Joining me now is Valerie Borline, national reporter for the Wall Street Journal. She's long been covering this case and has been in the courtroom every day. Thank you so much for coming back. You know, often, unless a defendant takes the stand, jurors never get to hear his or her version. But Valerie, in this case, they have heard a hell of a lot from Alec.
They've heard at point, 3, 4 recorded interviews with Alec in his own voice explaining what happened the night of the murders and then what happened later on in inside shooting. So they've heard hours of testimony from Alec himself, effectively.
Do you agree with me that witness 61, with the triangulation of the phone records and the OnStar data from General Motors, was probably the most compelling of the prosecution? Maybe that's why they saved it for last.
I tend to agree with you. It was a very effective testimony just to walk us through, minute by minute, many times second by second, every moment of Alex whereabouts that night, and Maggie's and Paul's. It was really revealing because I think we know intuitively, and we all have them, that our phone knows everything about them. It knows our every move, and that was what was so compelling.
Valerie, he's definitely a liar. Doesn't make him a murderer. I still am questioning whether all of the evidence of the financial crimes should have come in.
There's a significant question about that, and the defense has said they will, if he's convicted, they will appeal on what we have effectively had trials within trials. All this financial evidence about this long-running fraud that he's accused of, the insurance fraud he's accused of, we've essentially and it has been dizzying at times, I'm sure, for the jurors. But the lead prosecutor, Creighton Waters, said, this week, Judge, they've just got to know this is a case of unprecedented complexity. They've got to understand that. They've got to see how complex it is.
Here's the thing. If he didn't do it, someone else had a very narrow window to get on that property, take possession of those two different family guns, kill both the wife and son, and then get off the property without leaving a trace.
That's true. Someone would have had a very narrow window to accomplish all that. But it cuts both ways, right? I mean, if Alec did do it, there's to kill two people, clean up all the evidence, leave. It's 16 minutes. That's what the prosecution is alleging. So either way, it's not clear how all this was done in such a short amount of time. Whoever the guilty party is.
Final thought: prosecution not obligated to prove motive, but of course the jurors and the public, we want to know why, how, why would he have done this? I don't see the consistency in the motive issue. I think they put on a very compelling case, but does it necessarily follow that you kill your wife and your young son because the financial walls are closing in?
And that's what the defense has made that argument and said, look, we concede, and the jury has heard from his own mouth in one of these interviews, he acknowledges a lot of financial wrongdoing. The defense says, yes, okay, set that aside. Why does it follow that because he was getting ready to, potentially was getting ready to, be revealed as a fraud, but why would he kill his wife and son who he loved, and demonstrably so?
We'll see what happens this week with the defense presentation. Valerie Borline, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Watch the 3-part docuseries Low Country, The Murdoch Dynasty. It starts tomorrow at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on CNN. By the way, Randy Kay, I think, has turned in some great reporting on the trial. All right, still to come, the final result of this week's poll question. Will you please go to StoreCottage.com right now? Consider subscribing to the daily newsletter while you're there. It's free and it's worthy. This is the poll question. Will Fox News lose credibility with its own viewers? If those viewers find out, hey, the network hosts and executives, they knew all that 2020 stuff was BS.
When Aspen Dental told me that my dentist was ready, I was so excited. I love the confidence. I love that I can blast this beautiful smile and make the world smile with me. I would totally say Aspen Dental changed my life.
Aspen Dental makes new smiles affordable. Right now, get 20% off dentures. We do anything to make you smile. Schedule your consultation today.
Businesses nationwide are switching to Verizon Business Internet. It's a perfect fit for my small business. Verizon has business internet solutions nationwide.
For our not so small business, too.
Get internet that keeps your business ready for anything from Verizon.
I want my daughter Riley to know about her ancestors and how important it is to know who you are, to know where you came from. We're discovering it together. It's been an amazing gift.
You, Karen? The internet is telling me a million different ways I should be trading. Look.
What's up, my trade dogs? You should be listening to me. You want to be bigger like me? Well, trust me on this. Okay, crystals. Wow. Yeah.
It's time to take control of your investing education. Cut through the noise with best-in-class education resources that match your preferred style of learning. Learn your way, not theirs. TD Ameritrade, where smart investors get smarter.
I brought in Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein.
Those who tried me felt more energy in just 2 weeks. Here, I'll take that.
Ensure Max Protein with 30 grams of protein, 1 gram of sugar, and nutrients for immune health.
Let me say it again.
You always get the whole home. Not part of it, but the whole upstairs, the whole downstairs, the whole fridge, and the whole secret nap room. Because is it really a vacation home if you have to share the house with a host? Only with Virgo.
Honey, are you throwing the throw pillow?
Relaxing to watch TV can be hard.
Remember how they stack?
Actually, watching TV,
HBO app.
it's easy with Dish.
Honey, are you on the boudoir cushion?
It's a boudoir cushion.
Live TV and streaming apps together with Dish, tuned in to you.
Team, I need a volunteer. We need promotional products.
I'm on it. Ford Imprint makes promotional product success easy. For high-quality items, go to FordImprint.com. Ford Imprint, for certain.
This week, I'm talking to Jane Fonda
I'm not scared of dying. Are you?
and DHS Secretary Alejandro Mayorkas.
How can you say the border is secure?
Who's talking to Chris Wallace tomorrow night at 7 on CNN.
The President's Day sale is here. Get up to 50% off Spotlight deal. Also, this week only, shop President's Day doorbusters. Plus, get 0% interest for 60 months at America's #1 furniture and mattress store. Visit your local Ashley store or ashley.com to shop and save today.
Are you a cancer victim who used the weed killer Roundup? Did you know that billions of dollars have been set aside to pay victims of serious illness caused by Roundup? I'm Bob Goldwater of the Goldwater Law Firm. If you or a loved one were diagnosed with non-Hodgkin's lymphoma after being exposed to glyphosate, the main ingredient found in the weed killer Roundup, you may be entitled to significant financial compensation. Call us right now for a free case review. We don't get paid unless you do.
Call 814-988-5304.
At Ashley's President's Day mattress sale, save up $1,000 on select mattresses. Plus, save hundreds on select adjustable mattress sets. Save up to $500 on Tempur-Pedic, or save up to $900 on Purple. Plus, get 0% interest for 60 months only at Ashley.
CNN presents Low Country, The Murdoch Dynasty, tomorrow at 8 on CNN.
All right, there it is, the result of this week's poll question. Wow, look at that voting, 36,000 and change. Will Fox News lose credibility with its viewers if they learn, meaning the viewers, that the networks knew all that conspiracy talk was BS, and 2/3 of you are saying, no, they won't lose credibility with their viewers. Interesting, because that was Brian Rosenwald's answer when I talked to him earlier in the program about exactly this. They'll say, it's all a left-wing conspiracy. Like, even just, I had posted on my website today the Dominion motion for summary judgment. To look at the texts, to look at the deposition testimony, to look at the emails is pretty damn compelling, right? I mean, maybe it's been taken out of context, but this is what they were saying to one another. How do you get around that? How is that not a turnoff to the base? Well, the base doesn't know about it. What do we have, Catherine, from the world of social media? They probably won't even know it happened. They aren't going to talk about it. No, they haven't at all. Right. And they're not talking about it in conservative media. Right. That's it. And you know, there's an outlet called Ground News, which shows you what's missing from the left and what's missing from the right. In line with me saying, you've got to read it all if you want to be on top of the news. What else came in? No, unfortunately, it appears the majority of Fox viewers are happy in their echo chamber. I find it hard to believe that many people didn't know they were being lied to. Well, okay, so Meryl Palmer, maybe they did know. Maybe they did know. I mean, maybe this is another manifestation of tribalism when we look past the deficiencies of candidates who are running under our party's label. Because after all, as bad as they might be, they're not as bad as the opponent. I think there's a lot of that at play here as well. One more if I've got time for it, and I think that I did. So social media is the biggest scourge. It is, absolutely. Unless it's reined in, youth suicide will continue to grow. Carmela, I agree with that. To look at the CDC report and see the alarming data about boys and girls, but particularly our girls, what has changed? You know, what has changed in the last decade to bring about a spike like this? It is the fact that in about 2012, you know, more than half the country had a smartphone. It was the advent of the selfie era and all that competition that we weren't subject to back in the day, but they are, in homeroom, etc., has got to be a driving factor on all of this. Read the CDC report. Follow me, please, on social media. If you don't, you're missing things like this, which is a video that we tweeted out. I'm going to say tweeted out. Yeah, look at that. Who knew I was so nimble? Gang, thank you for watching. See you next week.
Tonight at 7:16, you see, I'm rocking the clouds with a spaceship at night. Get me from the ground, I'm gonna jump.
Meet apartment 2A, 2B, and 2C. 2A is monitoring his money with a simple text. Like what you see here? Yes. 2B's covered with 0 overdraft fees when he overdrafts his account by $50 or less. And 2C, well, she's not going to let a lost card get her stressed. Am I right? That's right. That's because these neighbors all have Chase. Alerts that help check, tools that help protect. One bank